Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Planet Film Network. Welcome back to another PFN review. I am one of your hosts, Sean Monk.
I am Rother's TJ Cornwell, and tonight we will be reviewing season 2 of Euphoria. Not the last season. The third season will come in 2024, I believe it is. So we're doing Stranger Things in length and gap between seasons. That's what we're getting to at this point.
Yeah, so do you think next time. Oh, wait. It just answered my own question. We'll start right away with a minor spoiler, very minor spoiler. I was just going to say, do you think next season they'll be out of high school? But they were already in their senior year, and at the very end, Rue's voiceover says, so
Oh
something, something,
yeah,
something, the rest of the school year.
yeah,
So they're done. So when
yeah.
we see them next, they will be out.
I was talking to my coworker earlier today,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, "Yeah, like I wonder, did they ever specify what grade they're in?" And I was like, "I don't know. Like, I feel like they're probably between like sophomore and junior." And then you just
Well,
said
yeah,
that,
because
and I was
they're
like, "Oh
because
yeah."
there's some of them are 17 and then some of them are 18. So I assume they're
Mm,
in their senior year this year.
that would
This
make
year,
sense. Yeah.
yeah. Um, I might be wrong. Like some of them might not be, but most of them are 17 or 18. So I just
Yeah.
assumed. Because I think in the first season they were juniors, if I
Okay.
am remembering correctly.
Hmm.
Oh, actually, you know what? That wouldn't be possible. Cassie and Maddie must be seniors. Cassie, Maddie,
Nate
and
always
Kat.
struck me as a senior as well, but
Yeah, because
doesn't
I
matter to me.
think Cassie, Maddie, Kat, and Nate are must have all been seniors because then Lexi is a year below Cassie, and they were
Mm,
both still in school. And Lexi
okay.
and Rue are the same age, so I think Lexi, Rue, and Jules are probably juniors this season, and then the other ones are
Hmm.
probably seniors. That's got to be what it is. All right, cool. Well, now now that quick mental math is done,
Hmm.
um, hit us with it. What did you think of the season overall? Because if you guys have been following our mini reviews on Planet Film Live, you know that we were not, I would say, not thrilled with this season up
Hmm.
until about like the midpoint. I would say it really picked up for us. But I still think we still had some issues and stuff. So what did you think overall, and where did you end up landing?
I thought the season as a whole was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Obviously some bumps in the road. I felt like we both had in the beginning of the season that it picked up. I think mainly with that Rue solo episode, and then off from there it kind of picked up. Yeah, overall I thought it was a good season. I'd still not as good as the first one. Still a lot of questions remain unanswered, in my opinion. And we'll probably talk more, like we'll probably give our overall thoughts on season 2 and then maybe dive more into the last episode that aired last night.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I liked where we went. The one of the biggest problems I still have with season 2 is that they just completely cut out Kat's story, like all of it. And
I get
if
that.
you are to believe that, you know, Robbie Ferreira got in an argument with Sam Levinson and he just slashed her entire arc in this season, I'm completely on that train at this point because I feel like I've just seen too many things on Twitter where, and again, it's just these reports of him coming to set without a shot list and they're there for 14, 15 hours when they don't have to be, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and if that is to be believed, then I don't really have a hard time believing that they got an argument. And apparently it was like there was the arc was supposed to be that she has an eating disorder and she was not a fan of that. And that's where that argument went and he just kind of cut whatever she was in anyway.
Hmm.
And to me, if that is true, like, you can get an argument with your actors or whatever, but like to me, like cutting their part is like like if that is true, like that's just really petty. And
Yeah.
it's just not. for me, my opinion, not cool. But then again, every negative thing that comes out about him, there's like another thing where somebody was like I think Sydney Sweeney did an interview or something where it was like, oh, like, there was this one nudity scene, but like I didn't think it needed to be, and I like voiced that to Sam, and he was very understanding, and we ended up not doing it. So like there's always that kind of back and forth where it's like he did this, but then he did this, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, blah blah blah. Yeah, and for me personally, like I just don't know. Me and Danielle talked about this. Like, I'm kind of going on and on, but like I think maybe he needs like somebody else in the writers' room. Like, it should not just be him, because
Yeah.
I feel like he likes to go off on all these different directions and then just not address anything.
Yeah. No, I get that.
But yeah, I think it did a good, like, the show has done a good job of, showing how these characters feel and showing the story of Rue's sobriety and how it affects people around her. And I praise it for that because it does an amazing job at that. And then there's also some like batshit crazy things that also happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I thought it was a good season. Not as good as season one, but I definitely had my like gripes with it.
I would agree with everything you just said. Definitely. For sure. I feel like I feel like we came in very similar on this season.
Mm,
That, it was like kind of a slow start, and
yeah.
then the doubt kind of starts to creep in on episode, 2 and 3 and 4. We were like, all right, what's going on here? Because I feel like a lot of what we were talking about was, okay, very, and I think this will tie back to the finale when we really dive in deep to that. But it felt like the earlier parts of the season were really, really diverting from Rue. And I
Hmm.
feel like this show is at its best when Rue is at the core of it. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
yes, is the Cassie stuff, like the Cassie, Nate, and Maddie stuff, entertaining? Yes, is all that stuff good to watch? Absolutely. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying the core, kind of the lightning rod of the show is Rue and is Zendaya.
Hmm.
And I really feel like up until that episode 5, where it was really, that whole, Rue centric episode with the, the kind of the running of the Rue, or whatever you want to call it, like all that stuff. I feel like that's finally where the show kind of kicked it into gear, and then we kind of caught onto the trajectory, or caught onto the path that the rest of the season was going to follow.
Yeah.
And I just feel like, kind of similar to Book of Boba Fett, I feel like the main issues with this season really just stem from a structural sense, like, standpoint, like, the structure
Yeah.
of the actual storytelling. I feel like really just kind of came apart in this season. They definitely pulled it back together towards the end, for sure. um but even things like Lexi and Fezco, like, we got that great, you know uh obvious setup for where the two of them were going to go in the first episode, and then we got 7 more episodes of not even addressing it. And then,
Right.
granted,
Yeah.
in the last 3 episodes, or sorry, not 7 more, because how many episodes were there? There was 8. So we got like
Uh huh.
5 more episodes, not addressing it. And then in the last like 2 or 3 episodes, they addressed it heavily and went into deep flashbacks and showing, basically getting us caught up with them. But it's like, I would have liked to see that peppered throughout the season more, to
Right.
really
Yeah.
make you feel it, type of thing. I think in Maud Apatow's performance in the finale, especially when she, makes the speech about, Fez not being able to be there, even though, like, she doesn't outright say that's who it's about. I think that her acting is strong enough that she kind of carries it through regardless. Um, but I do feel like, some things like that could have been handled a little bit better, for
Mm.
sure. But, I still feel like the season definitely, redeemed itself as being a good season. I feel like we really, for a couple weeks there, were feeling like this was not going to be good at
Yeah.
all. Like,
Like,
it definitely still was not as good as the first season, like, a hundred
no.
percent. But it did redeem itself to at least be a good, worth watching, worthwhile, season of television for me, at least. But yeah.
Agreed.
Would you
Agreed.
have a
Um,
star rating for the season overall before we get into
yeah,
kind of spoilers?
I'd probably go a 4 out of 5,
What would you give? What would you have given season one?
probably 5.
Gotcha.
I think 5 just hit every beat, building up these stories, and again, like we said, I think we both feel this way. Is he writes a lot of checks that I don't know if he can cash. Like
Yeah.
he writes a lot of plots that just kind of dead end.
Yeah.
And they feel like they should be so much bigger. And I get
Hmm.
like some of this is like hyper realistic, which I think is, probably would be a solution if you wanted to accept it to your kind of gripe which is like the consequences.
Yeah.
Like, where are the consequences of that episode of her
We
running
never
around?
even saw Lori again. We never even
Right,
saw her again.
right. And I think that is that's something that I just don't like. I don't know if they're gonna do that in season 3. Like, if it was me, like, if I was writing the show, I'd put everything coming down next season. And if
Yeah.
nothing comes up, then I don't know what to tell you. Like,
Yeah.
there's just stuff that I feel like you cannot leave like so open ended. Um,
Yeah. Like
because
how
this is
I.
not that kind
Oh
of.
yeah.
I don't know. To me, it's not that kind of show. Like,
Yeah.
it should come back up.
Yeah. Like to me, I feel like either one of two paths is acceptable, but then a third is very much not. Like if you just want to move on and because the show's not going to come back for 2 more years, if you just wanted to say, okay, they're going to college now, or they're out of high school. What does it look like when these people really try to move on and start their lives? Uh, and then just kind of start with that as like, well, now all the trouble maybe isn't all this high school drama, but it's, well, how does Rue do, having to hold a job or something? That would be
Hmm.
interesting to me. Or absolutely continuing picking up the threads, what happens with Lori, what does all that. What I would absolutely not want to see is throw both of those options out the window and just start a whole bunch of new drama. It's like, no,
Right.
either move the story on or use your existing challenges and antagonists or whatever, but don't just throw it all out again and give us all new issues and conflict and stuff. You know what I mean? Like that's what
Hmm.
I really don't want to see. Either move
Yeah.
on, continue the story, but don't just blow it up and be like, well, it's a new season, what's going to happen this year? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
which I feel kind of like that's kind of what they did with this season, because like right at the get, it's like, all right, Rue is using again, Cassie and McKay are broken up, like, you know what I mean? It's like all this stuff just like went down in the very very beginning to kind of set the new stage for season
Hmm.
2, and it just felt very like, oh, whoa, there's a lot, there's a lot of changes going on right at the start, and I feel like a lot of that was just like he kind of went, oh, wouldn't it be cool if this is what happened? Oh, well, how do I get there? And then it's like, well, you
Right.
have to kind of
Yeah.
set the stage really fast. I just hope, I like, kind of like you said, I do hope he gets some other people in the writers' room, really working on it. And I know that Zendaya did have some, you know, writing. I don't know if it was outright like screenplay writing or just story influence this year, but I do know that she took a bigger part in that this year, especially
Hmm.
just really with Rue's stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe even if she goes in and kind of looks at the season as a whole, because at this point she's very familiar with the characters too. um but yeah, like I still think he does a good enough job to make like a serviceable show. I just think he probably needs some help to kind of keep it going and give it legs.
Yeah. I agree with basically everything that you just said. Yeah. So do you want to talk about? Oh, did you give a star? Did you give your little
Hmm.
a rating?
i'd give it a I would give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I give it a 3.5 out
Um,
of 5 for me.
yeah. So let's talk about the finale that aired last night. Starting off not very good is HBO Max crashed for a
Yeah.
hot second there.
You got in way
Um,
quicker than a lot of people, though.
yeah.
You were like, oh yeah, it did, but we got it now. I had to. Oh my god, I had to restart it like 5 times. I couldn't get in on
Yeah.
my phone. I couldn't get on anything.
Yeah, I believe I saw that it's now like the second most. It's like the most tweeted about show or something, and
And it's the
the
second most
second
watched
most
since Game of
watched
Thrones.
next to Game of Thrones. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
which
crazy.
I don't know how you count like the most tweeted about. Like, is it just like mentions or like hashtags
It's
or
they
how do
probably it's probably there's probably a big team at HBO that's like
you?
crunches the numbers and looks at the line graph and they're like, whoa, like Euphoria,
Yeah,
like the social media engagement team or whatever or something like that.
yeah. Yeah, so this is gonna be like full spoilers for like the last episode. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it, then come back. Um, so for me, like, were you shocked that Ashtray died?
I was shocked with a lot of things. Yeah,
Hmm.
I was very shocked. I just kept screaming, I don't think a headshot is protocol. I was like,
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, again, that's such a dicey. Like,
yeah,
you you can't shoot a cop. You can't shoot a cop. Like you can't shotgun him in the body.
yeah, and then
And
expect to get any
yeah, so like
pass.
for that I was kind of like, I mean, he probably should not have done that. He should have stopped shooting. Like, and I'll be honest, if Fez if would have said like you shot me,
Yeah,
he might have stopped.
yeah,
Granted, he is shot on the ground, so it's kind of like I don't really blame him
yeah.
for saying that. But I was kind of like, oh, maybe if he would have said that, he would have stopped
And
shooting.
we
But
really don't know what happened to Fez because a lot
yeah,
of people like on shows and movies and stuff, a gut wound like that, a lot of people die from that, and he was
yeah,
bleeding out
he
pretty
was.
heavily,
Yeah,
like pretty heavily.
yeah.
So
And it wasn't like the EMTs were there right away. I mean,
yeah,
he's zip
exactly.
tied and taken out. Like,
Yeah.
and the funny thing about the ending of the show or of the season was that I don't know when they were. When do you think they were renewed officially? Because it definitely wasn't when they announced it. Obviously, like it must have been. Do
I
you
would
think it was before he started writing the season?
no. Before he started writing this season?
Yeah, well, I
No,
don't know, or
definitely after.
shooting or
I would say no, definitely after. Like cuz they announced the renewal in like what, when episode 1 premiered, right?
no.
Oh, was it episode like 4
It
or
was like a
something?
few weeks ago,
Oh, okay. Then yeah,
I
no,
think.
I'd assume they probably told them like probably, maybe when the show started airing or
Hmm.
something. Definitely not like before he did season 2 though, because I mean, they never really know where anything's,
Hmm.
TV like that, that's not part of like a
Yeah,
Star
right.
Wars or a Marvel.
According to this according to this article from the decider.com or decider.com, it says earlier this month, so earlier February,
Yeah.
HBO renewed Euphoria for season 3, which is when it was announced, I think earlier this month. But
Yeah.
when it officially happened, so like to me this was him writing the end. To me it was like, are you writing it as if this is the end of the show?
Yeah, I
Because
felt that a lot, especially with Rue's narration at the end.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it really was to me like if it would have ended like that, like ooh, that would have been like that might have been more backlash in Game of Thrones, if we're being
Yeah.
completely honest. Like it just wasn't fulfilling if it was going to end that way. Because again, we have a lot of different plots going all at once. For me, like the whole kind of, and I guess this last week when I was like, oh, we were like, oh, where do we think Nate's going? I was like, I think he's going to find Cal because he's the one who he blames for the way he is, and I think he's gonna do something. And I saw a lot of people on Twitter, or some people on Twitter, and I kind of agree, is that like they did this whole thing with him like loading the gun, drinking and driving, and he walks in with the gun like in his pocket and he's talking to him, and then I don't know if it's like he has a change of heart or something, which
Mm-hmm.
I think he does at one point, like when he starts talking to Cal, and it's like, no, you don't get to go run off and do whatever after you just messed up our family.
Yeah.
Um, and Cal kind of, I think he kind of, he understands where he's coming from, and he tries to, feel how he's feeling and all that, and then, so so it was kind of like I don't think people liked how you built it up as this whole thing, and then it's like, oh well, he just called the cops on him. It's kind of like we build it up as this kind of hyper violent thing, maybe, or could be, and then it's like, well, that's not really what happened. Um, I feel like to me, like it was just kind of like I think he walked in thinking that, and then when he saw him, he was talking to him. I think he kind of had a change of heart. But granted, that also doesn't really make much sense because he would have had to call the cops
Before he even
he
got
got
there.
there.
Yeah.
So they were coming anyway. So it's kind of like, well, maybe I don't know, because it's like, what is he gonna do? Shoot him? Because if the cops are coming, it's like, well, who shot him? I wonder.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, so I think okay, this is exactly what I think.
Mm-hmm.
Or this is what I thought in the moment. I don't know where I'm going to
Okay.
follow that, but what I took it as was Nate gave the cops all the info on Cal
Mm-hmm.
to get them to go there to arrest Cal.
Yeah.
But I think that did I just say Nick?
No,
Or,
you said
oh,
Cal.
I don't know why. I was like, the whole rest of the sentence, I was like, did I just say the wrong name? Anyways, I think that Nate called them, gave them the information about Cal, definitely, like the flash drive or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
to go arrest Cal. And then I think Nate was like, fuck my life. I'm going to shoot him, and then they'll just arrest me for his murder instead.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think. I think when Cal was like, because Cal knew, he was like, if the cops are pulling up, when Cal was saying, please don't do this, I took that and he was like, he was like pleading. He was like, Nate, please don't do this. Don't do this to yourself. Type. He even says, I think, don't do this to yourself. I think what he
Mm-hmm.
was saying was like, just let them arrest me. Like, don't kill me with your anger and then ruin your
Mm.
life. That's what I
Yeah.
thought. I was like, oh shit, Nate's gonna like send himself to prison for killing his dad, but he just like doesn't give
Mm-hmm.
a shit. That's what I thought. But then I think he decided not to shoot him and then just let the kind of Law and Order take handle Cal basically instead of his own
Mm-hmm.
revenge. But that's just how I saw it. I mean, it's not necessarily I guess what the intention might have been, but that's how I saw.
Yeah.
How did you feel about how everything wrapped up with Rue and Jules and Rue and Elliot and that whole dynamic? Did you
Well,
think it was a
first of
little
all,
rushed at the end, or
I don't know about you, but when he started singing, I was like looking at my imaginary watch. I was like, we're still going?" And then he
it
said,
was
"I'm
a
still working on it. I'm
it
still
was a
working on it."
beautiful song, but I think all of us as a world went
Yeah.
at the 2 minute mark went.
Yeah.
I know. What I specifically said. I looked at Brianna and I said, "Is he singing like a full 4 minute song right now? Like,
Yeah.
like usually in
Danielle was like, "I like this song." And then at the end,
me
she was
too.
like, "Okay, I didn't know it was gonna go for 5 minutes."
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, I really liked it, and I mean, obviously, it gave a great backdrop to just staying on Zendaya, and just
Hmm.
watching her just fucking emote the shit out of the scene, basically. And she was so good in this episode. Um, but yeah, I mean, even that at a certain point, it was just like, oh, okay, are we? Oh, we're still okay. All right, like it was just like, and I agree with Danielle. Like it was a beautiful song. It fit everything. It went
Hmm.
right along with what Rue was going through. Like it serviced the story, the characters. It was great. It just went for fucking 5 minutes long, and I was like, what the
Yeah.
hell's going on? But yeah, like honestly, I would have liked to see that 5 minutes go to like Kat and that was another thing, was that Ethan was getting so much love these past two episodes. Kat, it was almost like just no acknowledgement that she even knew who Ethan was or anything. You know what I mean? Like I thought maybe
Well,
we
remember,
would get something. A
she has
brain,
brain
yeah,
disease,
yeah. She has
so
a brain
yeah,
disease. Yeah,
probably affects her memory.
it's called being an asshole.
Um, yeah.
Susie, Susie once again, being the MVP of this episode, Lexi and Cassie's mom.
Oh yeah.
Just like where she's like, where when she goes on the stage, man, and she's like, where's Ethan? Ethan, come out here. He's gonna. She's like, he's gonna win an award for this. He's
That
playing
was
me.
very
Like
funny.
that was great. But then
Yeah.
she did have
Um.
some like harder scenes too this episode, which
Mhm.
I thought she really nailed.
Yeah, for the whole Jules, Rue, and
Elliot.
Elliot, like love triangle thing, kind of, kind of wrapping. I don't even know if I liked the kind of, I liked
Hmm.
that Rue was like, I'm not gonna forgive you, but like, I think she was like, I'll accept your apology, but I don't forgive you, or something like that. Like, which again is kind of like, I saved your life, so like, I shouldn't be apologizing, you know, because it's like,
Hmm.
no matter what, no matter how like, I get like, I'm trying to understand how you feel, but it's like at the same time, it's like all these other people you're affecting. And we even saw it in the last episode when um, Rue's mom was like, you know, do what you want to do. Like,
Yeah.
I got another kid to worry about.
Yeah. At the end of the day, like
Um,
I have to protect, your sister. I got to make sure one of my kids makes it out, basically.
right. And it's kind of like she's like, damn. She's like, okay, like,
Yeah.
I don't think they like. I think that was like out of order because I don't believe that was like present day when that happened. Um,
Yeah, I took it as it was probably like a few weeks before the play.
right. But yeah, I was pretty the whole kind of her and Jules kind of quick little interaction at the end of the episode. I liked. I didn't really know what to take from that because in her narration she made it sound like they they like reconcile, but they never get back together or anything like that.
Yeah.
Right? That's kind of what I took from that.
Yeah, like I took it as like cuz she says she was like Jules was the first love of my life and she says and I'd like to keep it that way. So
Mm-hmm.
I think what she's saying is like and it's the same with Elliot. Like I think so where she's at with Elliot and the more I think about the finale the more we
Wasn't he
talk
gonna
about
tell
it.
her that they were having sex or?
I know, right? I don't know. Um but the way that the way that we or the way that thinking about the episode and us talking about it, the more I think yes, I think this definitely was written as a possible series finale for sure because I think like the way that she ended things with Elliot was very much like okay, we aren't friends, we're not going to be friends, but we're cool with each other. You know what I mean? Like that
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. Like because when he said, he says, "Do you think we could ever be friends?" And she's like, "Weren't you the one that said we're no good for each other? Like, I
Mm-hmm.
can't do that. Basically, you're not. You would detract like nothing personally against you, but like you would take away from my recovery or whatever." And I
Right.
think it's the same with Jules when she says, Jules was the first love of my life, and she says, "I'd like to keep it that way."
Mm-hmm.
So I think what that's implying is like she's kind of closing the chapter on both of them, at least in that way. Yeah. So I am excited to see where a potential, well I guess not a potential, a definite where a season 3 is gonna go. Because it's not even hypothetical. It's we're gonna get one. I just don't know who we're gonna follow, where we're gonna go, how things are gonna be. Are we gonna follow the characters, or does this turn into like a Degrassi or like Skin situation where maybe we'll deal with a new set of people eventually on this show? Maybe the show
Mm.
goes past um, these characters that we're dealing with. I think either route would work. Um, but yeah, the one thing I do want to say definitely is I can't remember which review it is, but you guys can go back and you can take a look at all of our previous reviews for the season. Um, but we said at one point like, where's the light at the end of the tunnel, or where is the tunnel leading
Mm-hmm.
specifically? Um, and I would say for me at least, I think this did have a satisfying enough conclusion that we were like, is this even leading to anything? Because it really for a while felt like it was not.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that me for sure, and I'll see where you land on this once I'm done in a second. Um, I think I got that kind of catharsis or whatever you want to call it that I needed from this season. I think I'm still like we've talked about all the dangling plot threads, cat, different things. Definitely, totally left unsatisfied, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the season as a whole, especially with the Fez stuff, definitely there was some catharsis. But then even with the Fez stuff, we got no reaction from Lexi. to what happened with Fez?
Yeah.
Does she even know? You know what I mean? And it's like, and we're not gonna find
Probably
out for
not.
2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Like that was just very frustrating. Like I was like, all right, you're getting me back. I'm enjoying this. This is a satisfying conclusion. And then I'm like, that was it. We don't even know what Lexi thought.
Mhm.
Like that kind of stuff was just really bugging me. But the season as a whole, I did get that kind of um, solid conclusion. I feel.
Yeah, I'd say. Ugh. Um, I'd say it was mostly satisfying. Like,
Yeah, I agree with
I
that.
am one who's like, I need you to show me, like, all this stuff that, again, like, I probably sound like a broken record. I mean, a lot of people probably sound like a broken record at this point. But what is it with this third kid, this second brother that Nate supposedly has?
I
Like, is
know.
it
I know.
Ashtray? Well, he's dead now, so it's like, why? It's probably not him. Who was the? Was there another some? Oh, it was Dominic Fike's character. It was like, oh, is he the brother? And it's like, I don't know.
Yeah. At this point,
And
I'm just like,
I'm,
I don't even think they realize.
but like, that's I told Danielle, I was like, was it a prop mistake? Did the prop person just not? Did they
That's
take the
what
picture? Like, oh,
what's his name, Jacob Elordi, right? That's
yeah,
what he says. That's what he said in an interview. Yeah, I know
really.
that we talked about it like
But
a
it's a
month and a
picture
half
of all
ago.
of them, though. Isn't it like?
I know.
Isn't it a
Well,
picture of
yeah,
like the
they would
family?
have. Yeah, like they would have taken it. I'm assuming though they took it before principal photography started, so maybe it was
Right.
something that there was supposed to be a younger brother, but then they just
Or
never
maybe
corrected
cut?
it. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because then
Uh,
you and I were saying
that'd be a real shame.
like
That'd be a
because
real
like
shame.
yeah, like I told you that I because remember at the beginning of the season I looked at you like you were speaking French. I was like, what are you talking about, another brother? I was like, I had no
Hmm.
idea what you were talking about. um and then he said that thing in the interview and you were like, what, that's ridiculous. And then the next episode was when Cal held up the picture and we were like, oh no, he's in there, that the brother's there, like something's gonna
Yeah.
happen. And then it just never got addressed ever again. And it's like, what the
Yeah.
hell's going on? Maybe the
Yeah.
brother will get a spin-off. I don't know.
Yeah. The biggest things to me, like, it was satisfying, but like, it wasn't, it was satisfying for a season, but not for a series. Just
Yeah,
because there's
no, I
so
get
many,
that.
like, again and again, I get it. It's like, again, a lot of this stuff in the show would not happen. No way any school is getting that big of a theater budget.
Uh-uh.
Not happening. No
Okay,
way is that.
when the fight broke out, I literally audibly said,
No admin.
I
Where's
said,
the
does anyone
administration?
work at the school? I was like, is there anyone there like that could maybe step in and say what the hell's going on? Like, are we just leaving Susie to kind of like wrangle the circus? Like, and for
Yeah.
a while it turned into like Benny Hill on the stage where they were like running
Yeah.
in between the mirrors. I was like, what the fuck am I watching?
Yeah.
And then, oh my god, two two best sounds in this episode when Maddie
The
slapped
slap.
Cassie,
Yeah.
and then when she shoved her and Cassie just smacked into the wall. I was like,
That
oh
wall. Yeah.
shit. Oh my god, it was
Yeah.
like the TikTok sound where she's like,
He's like, this bitch needs to be put down.
yeah, she said someone needs to drag this bitch. Oh my
That was
god.
really funny. Yeah, there was a lot of funny stuff. I feel like
Yeah.
in this last episode with
This last little like
their
stretch of it.
mom with Rue like starting the Lexi chant.
Yeah.
That was funny. Oh man, I yeah, I hope as far as like Lexi goes, like we need that. Like I don't know what's gonna happen. Like I don't think Fez is dead. Like I just don't. I
But
can't.
then what,
I
is he
just
in
can't
prison for
picture it.
life?
I think he's going to jail.
Yeah.
Or prison. I don't know how long.
Maybe he'll turn like an
I
informant or something.
Yeah, maybe the next season is him going through that. Although, because it's like he doesn't have to defend. Does he want to still defend Ashtray because he feels in his heart that he has to, even though he's gone? Or like, does
Yeah,
it not
exactly.
matter anymore because he's gone?
Yeah.
So I
I
feel
get
like that's
exactly
maybe
what you mean.
something that you have to grapple with, or you just put him in prison. I don't know, because he was there. He is a drug dealer. I'm
Yeah.
sure there's still drugs in the house. Who knows how much, stuff they have. And don't they think that he killed
Mouse.
Mouse too? Isn't that a thing?
Well,
Because there was a whole
I,
thing with like Faye
technically
and
the
Lori
only
talking
person,
like,
yeah, but technically the only person that knows what happened is Faye, and the police were listening in on the conversation. So her, the whole thing of like, no, don't you mean Lori killed Mouse? She could just continue with that and get, because nobody else
mm.
knows. No one
I
else knows who
figured
killed
that
him.
I figured that what's that dude's name again? The
Oh,
dude
the
they
guy
killed.
that died.
Yeah, I figured he had
Oh,
already told the cops that they did.
well, yeah, he could tell them, but he could tell them whatever they want to hear, because
Mm,
he was just trying to get
true.
himself out.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and now he's dead.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's basically
He is dead. Yes.
it's basically whatever narrative Faye and Fez can, if they keep going with the same narrative, I mean they could get out of it
Right.
technically. Yeah.
Yeah. That'll be interesting to see how they deal with that in the third season.
Yeah.
Um, I'm interested to see where if they do like a time jump or something, like
Yeah.
um, just considering obviously like the actors themselves are
Gonna
obviously
be
growing up,
older.
getting
Yeah.
older, and you've kind of ended with the whole senior year thing.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see where that goes. Maybe oh my god, I'm so bad at names. He's not in this episode. Ali. Maybe Ali's like dating her mom or something. I would be
Yeah.
down with that. If you show me that, I'd be down with that. He'd be a good father figure, I feel
Yeah.
like.
Have you ever
Um,
seen the show Skins before or no?
no.
So it's very similar to this. It's very
Okay.
similar to Euphoria, but it's like a UK show from the early 2000s, and a lot of very famous people started on there, like Nicholas Hoult, Daniel Kaluuya, Dev Patel.
Mm.
Like they all started in Hannah Murray from like Game of Thrones. A whole bunch of people came out of Skins and stuff. But it was basically just like this. It was like drugs, sex, alcohol, all in high school, like very much ahead of its time, but like Euphoria. So what that show did was every 2 seasons, it would go down and deal with new characters. And so the main character, Tony, who is Nicholas Hoult in the first 2 seasons, his sister, who is, her name's escaping me, another person who's big. Oh, God, what's her name? Kaya Skedja, the girl from Pirates of the Caribbean, the new one, and Maze Runner and stuff. She's a big actress now, but I
Mm.
can't remember her name. Um, but she played Effie, who is Tony's sister, like Tony's little
Mhm.
sister, in the first 2 seasons. She then became the main character of the show, and a whole new set of
Kaya
surrounding.
Scodelario?
Yes,
Scolario?
exactly. Yeah, Scolario. That's what it is. Yeah. So basically, it moved from Tony being the focus to then his younger sister Effie being the focus.
Mm.
Then the last 2 seasons was another younger class. So maybe it's something that if they want to follow that mold or something, maybe we could see like Gia taking a bigger role with Storm Reed
Oh
taking
yeah,
a bigger
maybe.
spotlight. Maybe some of her friends, because we did get a little tease of like her mom saying, Gia's going through all this shit that like you just not that you don't care. Her mom said, that you don't care about, but not that Rue doesn't care about, but just
Mhm.
Rue's going through so much, she doesn't have time to think about what Gia's going through. So maybe that I would like to see that Storm Reed taking a bigger role. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it could go a lot of ways with the future. I think it could go a lot of ways. What would you want to see? Well, out of any of those options, like how would you want to see this show go forward?
Jeez. Um,
Like, do you want a Euphoria season 5 where we're dealing with like a 27-year-old Nate Jacobs being a deadbeat boyfriend? Like,
no, I think you can't drag it out. I don't
yeah,
think this show is something that can last that long.
yeah. I
I don't think it
genuinely think
should.
it could have ended with this episode.
Yeah, yeah, it could have. I was thinking like Cal and Fez will probably see each other in prison
Oh yeah,
if they're both in prison. Or I mean, I think we can. I think Cal's probably definitely going to prison. Fez is we don't know yet. What would I like to see? Oh my lord! I think you gotta.
oh, Cal could Cal could say like, well, Ashtray, if they question Cal about Ashtray attacking him or something, maybe Cal could be like, well, listen, that like, I don't know, that Fezco
That
guy
dude
or
held a
whatever.
shotgun to my head.
Yeah, well, yeah, he did, but when Ashtray was hitting him, he could say like, well, that Fezco guy, he was telling him to stop. Like he was trying to, maybe Cal
Yeah.
could say too, like, well, I even threatened Fezco once, and he tried to, help the situation type of thing. So maybe he's another person who could help him
Yeah.
get him off or
Not really
something.
sure how far that would go in a court of
Yeah,
law, but
yeah, exactly. It's just a lot of he said, she
um,
said.
yeah, I don't know because like I don't think because I don't think like it would be like a oh like they're going to college type thing. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I think it picks up because we're given the narration. They're telling Rue is telling us what happens, but we haven't seen that yet. So I think it might lead up to that. I think it might be a thing where maybe the show ends when they graduate.
So
Um,
maybe just one more year.
yeah, because I don't see this going to like a whole college thing. You know what I mean? Because they're all living in different places. It's like a whole,
Mm-hmm.
Um, but we better get Lexi and Fez like justice. Like I better see them like actually together. She's with him and he's in prison. I would love that.
Damn, she's gonna have a prison boyfriend.
Yeah, she needs her boy. She needs her. She needs her boy.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Is
I
a
hope. Yeah, I just hope it doesn't go on too long. Like
Mhm.
I don't want us to be talking about this 10 years from now with season 6
Yeah.
or 8
No,
years.
I
Whatever
agree.
it would be.
I agree with
Yeah.
that. Man. Oh. Well, maybe if Zendaya has more time in her hands being done with Spider-Man,
Yeah. What's she doing? She's doing
yeah.
Dune. She's doing
Yeah,
what's
I guess.
what is the let's look at what she's got on IMDb coming
Oh,
up.
somebody said that Dune was like, or oh, Jeff Snyder, he hinted that Dune started production like secretly.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Somebody said he said something about what's it called? Hang on. He said something about like the reason Denny wasn't at the SAG Awards or something was because he's doing like Dune other things right now. Wink, wink.
Mm,
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, right now Zendaya has listed as like pre-production or announced. She has Dune, she has Challengers, and then she has Megalopolis by Francis Ford Coppola.
Mm. Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
3 projects that definitely take up your time and stuff like that. Plus
Mm-hmm.
everybody else on the show, but man, I just hope get somebody else in that room with him. Maybe
Yeah.
steer him. He's not. I think he's done a good job of writing, these characters in a way that you can, if you've ever been addicted to drugs or been addicted to anything, you can relate and you can understand, where all these characters are coming from. But I just think he needs somebody to. I think Sam Levinson needs somebody to keep him on a straightened path and not
Yeah.
stray too far with all these other plots.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you do have a subplot, don't answer it maybe 2 episodes and not drag the audience for 2 seasons and not give us an answer.
Yeah.
Um,
To multiple storylines, like.
right. Yeah. I got where's that Tom? We gotta get that Tom Holland cameo still.
I
Where's that?
know. I know. Maybe he's gonna play the aged up Ethan. He's gonna play Ethan in the college years. Just
Oh yeah. I think it'd be like for me, like I'd want like for a Tom Holland cameo or like any cameo, like actually no, specifically Tom Holland. Like I just want it to be like some small. Oh, he's like even like that Photoshop thing in the crowd. That's something I would love that. Like
yeah.
if he's just like in the back corner, like just watching something, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's cool. Like
Yeah.
I don't need him to be like a main like a
Or if he was just like
character.
one of the dancers
Like
in the
yes,
number
that would be
last week,
funny.
like
That
yeah,
would
that
be
would have been
funny.
funny.
Like dancer number
Um,
3.
yeah, dancer number 3 is Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. All right, the last question I want to know your answer to before we start wrapping up is, so season 3. not
Hmm.
until 2024. But do you think, whether later this year or next year or something, we will get more specials to bridge the gap?
Oh, I think
Because
maybe. I think
that's
maybe
not off the table.
you do one or two because I think you can do them with the people that aren't they don't have current projects. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, like I don't know what, for example. Well, I was gonna say I don't know what Angus Cloud is doing, but
Hmm.
maybe you throw him in for
Actually,
an episode or
there was
something like
some
that.
news. Did you see that he's apparently possibly going to be doing a Mac Miller biopic at Netflix? Yeah,
Oh,
that
that is
was. I
perfect.
think it
That
was
is
just. I
perfect.
think it was discussing film or somebody like that tweeted out that
Interesting.
apparently he's in early talks for that. I think that would be great. Not only the casting is great, but I think he deserves a good project like that because he's
Yes,
very good in this show.
that is a
Um,
perfect casting.
but yeah, um, but yeah, even somebody like Zendaya, I mean, she would definitely, if she had 3 weeks to do a Euphoria special, like even in her
Hmm.
busy schedule, I mean, she did it last year. Like she
Hmm.
will move. I feel like this is
I mean,
definitely a priority for her.
that was different. That's like
Yeah, that's
everything
true.
came down. I feel like.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But still.
But yeah,
But yeah, even like like just to see like where he's at, I guess,
yeah,
or um, who else?
and it's a
Maybe
good way
like
to move the story forward so that we can kind of pick up in season 3 a little bit further along.
yeah, maybe we get an episode with combined with Maddie and Cassie and see how they kind of
Yeah.
hash. Maybe I don't know if
You
they
could do
see
like
they
a Nate episode and then have it be the
yeah,
3 of them with him as like the
yeah,
center or something. Yeah.
yeah. I think that'd be cool.
Hmm.
Um,
Or honestly,
and a
I would
Lexi
be
episode. Give me
yeah,
more
I would
Lexi.
be cool actually if we got like a Maddie specific episode because I feel like Nate and
Hmm.
Cassie got so much time this season and stuff. Not that Maddie, got much less, but I feel like, Maddie would be a good character to kind of do a deeper, more personal, like deep dive on. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
I feel like Alexa Demi, like she did a really, really good job this season. Like that's the other thing. The story I feel is way, way worse this season. But the acting and the character work I think is way
Oh,
better than
top
last
notch.
season.
Oh yeah.
Way better than last
Not that it was
season.
bad in the first season, but I think
Exactly.
they took it
Just
to another level in
they
the
just
second.
went like nuts with it, especially
Yeah,
Alexa Demi and especially obviously Sydney Sweeney. Like just
yeah,
and Maud Apatow as well. Those
yeah.
two definitely like
And even
incredible.
you could say Zendaya topped herself from
Yeah, I think
in
she
the
did.
one episode with her,
Yeah.
like from anything, or maybe not anything in season one, but
Hmm.
season one just in general. Like she
Yeah.
was crazy good in that episode.
Hmm. I think that
Um,
episode, along with just that shot of her face when he's doing the song, really just was like, oh
yeah,
man, so
yeah.
good. But yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we wrap up or anything?
No, I think that'll do it. Hopefully, maybe they're like, oh, actually, it's coming out 2023.
That'd
Maybe
be
that'd be
awesome.
cool.
Yeah,
Probably
that'd be
not,
awesome.
but that'd be cool.
Yeah. Now we're gonna get into the Stranger Things issue of well, now
Oh
Sydney
boy.
Sweeney's got 4 movies coming up. Now like now Maud Apatow is gonna be doing this show
Hmm.
or something. It's like now everybody's gonna be splitting off because they're so good in this. It's like just gonna develop scheduling issues up the
Yeah.
up the whatever. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, hopefully we get it. Hopefully we get our next look at Euphoria, whether it's a special or the season, sooner rather than later. Because I
Hmm.
think was this season a step down from the first season? Yes. Did it win me back in still enjoying this world, these characters, and everything? Yes, definitely. So yeah, yeah. I mean that'll do it for my thoughts. Make sure to let us know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Make sure you're following us on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at the official PFN. We are posting there whether it's news, reviews, updates, anything like that. Different smaller reactions, all that stuff on there on a pretty much daily basis. So yeah, that's do it for me. I've been one of your hosts, Sean Monk.
I've been another host, TJ Cornwell. Again, thank you for watching. Let us know what you thought of season 2 in the comments below. What you thought of the last episode, or maybe what you thought of any episode.
Yeah.
Sean said, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check out all the social media pages. As a reminder, we will be going live from a brand new channel this Wednesday.
Yep.
We will post that channel before we go live,
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you join us, and we will see you then.
Boom.